What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Uncle Project. It's your host, Mr. T, and this is where I, as a content creator, document my journey along different projects that I'm working on, all the different success, failures, and everything in between. And so on today's show, we're going to be recapping a night of boxing. We had Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez Jr. at 154. Really good fight there. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that and that whole fight card, really. And we'll also get into a little bit of the Jake Paul versus Hasim Rahman Jr. Drama that went on Twitter during the fight as well. This fight is going to be powered by the sportstalksocial.com platform and Hive. I'll leave links in the show notes in the description to Sports Talk Social, and also links where you'll be able to get signed up and get you a free Hive account with you can get that account through PeakD or Ecency. But yeah, I'll have links in the show notes for that. But yeah, let's get a quick message from our sponsor Anchor and get into it. Let's get it. All right, so last night we had our main event was Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez Jr. At 154. So overall, I thought that was a pretty good, pretty entertaining fight. I was kind of expecting Danny Garcia to come out with the win. I'm not as familiar with Jose Benavidez, but yeah, Danny Garcia is a really good fighter. So I really hadn't seen Danny Garcia fight in a while. That was kind of something that they were talking about. I guess he had been out just working on his mental health and things like that, which is commendable. Just knowing when to take time out to address those things instead of letting it turn into something to where it harms other people in like more serious ways, But yeah, he's back in the ring after dealing with that, and I thought he looked pretty good, really skilled. He would really good with counter punching. His hands looked fast. There were like times where he had like some really good like super combos and things like that. And yeah, he was just connecting, moving around and looking good. He really stayed committed to the body throughout the fight, and let that jab go, And he was just overall a lot more busy than Benavidez. I thought Jose Benavidez Jr. needed to work work a lot more to win that fight, and I don't know, not that Benavidez is a bad fighter or anything. Like some people were saying that Danny Garcia was kind of like pitching a shutout, but I had actually given Benavidez some of those earlier rounds, just from what I observed. I thought he looked good and was connecting the more meaningful like power shots in the earlier rounds, but once Danny Garcia got comfortable and adjusted to the fight, it just wasn't the same from there. It was like a lot of the time, like Benavidez, he just threw like some big shots and whether they landed or not, he'd just give like this monster look to Danny Garcia afterwards, and like hold his hands out and things like that. Just like a lot of it looked like more posturing than boxing. Like even on the defensive end, like whenever Danny Garcia would get around his guard and get some shots in, like all Benavidez would do would just shake his head like, nah, that doesn't hurt, or something like that. Like he wouldn't like return shots like I thought he should. It's like, man, he's doing all this posing and posturing, but his opponent is in there boxing. But yeah, not a bad fighter. I just think Benavidez just needed to work some more, especially to win that fight. But yeah, so good fight, good win for Danny Garcia by decision. One of those judges, I don't know what fight she was watching. She had it as a draw. And like I say, even though I did have Benavidez winning some of those early rounds, but I don't think it was a really close fight, close enough for anyone to have it as a draw. But, hey, maybe, I don't know what she was seeing. Maybe she knows something I don't. But, yeah. So, good fight, good win for Danny Garcia at 154. I think they're saying this is his first fight at this weight. And just a couple of folks for his next opponent. They're talking about Keith Thurman, which I think would be a really good fight. I thought Keith Thurman looked really good in his last fight as well against the young guy, the guy that just fought Tank. Well, he had fought Tank before him. His name escapes me right now, but yeah, I thought Keith Thurman looked really good in his last fight as well. Just super skilled. And people kind of, I don't know. People say Thurman didn't look as good as I thought he did. Maybe he did have like some chances to close dude out, but from what I see, it kind of looks like he was just he just fights, and if he gets the knockout, he knocks the guy out, but he's not going to like abandon his game plan or anything. But yeah, I think that would be a good interesting fight. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman run it back. They also had I don't know who that was calling them out. During they do like interviews in between rounds and things. I think that was Tony Harrison calling them out. That's another guy. But yeah, I think Danny Garcia definitely has some good fights here in this division to go get. I don't think he's ready for Charlo yet. Undisputed champ at that division. Charlo is a bad boy. He's different. Charlo's like a real beast out here. Shout out to Charlo. But yeah, Danny Garcia doing his thing. But yeah, even some of the other fights on that card, that heavyweight fight before the Garcia Benavidez fight was really entertaining. Good ass fight. I think it was Kownacki and Demirezen. Really good fight. Adam Kownacki, he came in swinging. These are heavyweights, and he came in setting a pretty good pace. He set the tempo, but Demirezen, he adjusted really quick, and he threw with them. Had a couple big men in there really getting down, letting the hands go. I thought somebody was going to get knocked out, but ultimately that one came to a decision as well, with Demirezen coming out on top. His work rate was just really surprising to see heavyweights throw like that. Respect to both of those guys. They both put on a pretty good performance, but Demirezen a little bit more accurate, a little bit more active, even though it didn't seem like he initiated the tempo. He adjusted to it and came out on top, looked really good. I actually missed welterweight fight before that, which is one that I'm really disappointed that I missed. Antuanne Russell and I think this is Rances Barthelemy, and I haven't seen Antuanne Russell fight too much, but I've heard really good things about him and just his family in general. But I really wanted to check that fight out. I missed that one, but I did see there was some controversy. I kind of saw the controversy play out on Twitter, and from the looks of it, Russell caught dude with a good shot, and it was a good knockdown. Like it wasn't a question of the knockdown. He caught him with a good shot. Barthelemy, he hit the canvas, but it looked like he was ready to go before the count. It didn't look like a knockout to me, but I don't know exactly what the ref saw. Ref might have saw something different. Again, you want to protect the fighter, but you don't want to get in the way of competition. It's sometimes that can be a fine line if you're close to the action and you see things that people outside of the ring don't see. With that, it looked like Antuanne Russell was kind of sympathetic and willing to run it back. So might get that rematch there, and I'll have to make sure to catch that one whenever they run that rematch back. And good night of boxing, and there was also some good old boxing drama going on Twitter during the fight. So the Hasim Rahman Jr., which is like crazy to say. Like Hasim Rahman was like a guy he was that guy whenever I was coming up, whenever I was a kid. His son was about to fight Jake Paul. And they announced that fight was canceled. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know how to feel about it. I'm kind of like, should I be ashamed that I'm disappointed about a Jake Paul fight being canceled? Like at one point I was telling myself like there's no point in time I'll ever be checking for a Jake Paul fight. I was actually kind of wanted to see how that fight would play out, but looks like we're not going to get that. Just from the outside looking in, it looks like Hasim Rahman was doing everything he could do to make that fight happen. There was an issue with his weight, I guess, but you know, he looked like he was in really good shape. If you looked at him, you know, before preparing for the fight, compared to now, he looks like he's in really good shape, you know, to the eye. I don't know exactly what his weight is, but I guess it just is out of what they wanted for how that contract was set up. And, you know, like people are saying, like, why did he even sign the contract if he knew he couldn't make the weight, and things like that. You know, which, yeah, you can say that. But I also feel like, why would you offer a contract to somebody that's high risk of them not being able to fulfill the contract? You know, why even offer that fighter an opportunity to fight? You know, but that's a whole big mess. It just seems like some reality TV drama at this point. Like, Hasim Rahman, he's saying that he started the camp at 230 pounds and he had like 30 days to lose 30 pounds. Jake Paul is saying that he started at like 216 and he had 30 days to lose like 10 pounds or something. So that's a whole big mess, but not going to get that fight. Yeah. When will we get to see Jake Paul fight a fighter? You know, he's getting a lot of time to prepare and get better. So, hey, let's see what he brings to the ring whenever he gets a chance to fight an actual boxer. But yeah, it was a really good night of boxing. Boxing Twitter was pretty lit. Yeah, good night of boxing. But yeah, so that's all for today. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at CoinRunner7. I'll have a link in the description. If you don't have a Hive account set up, you can get set up through Ecency or Peak D. You know, check out sportstalksocial.com. And make sure you get signed up for my email list. Yeah, get signed up for my email list and subscribe to the pod. Got a whole bunch of stuff for you to do. But yeah, so that's all for today. R.I.P. Bill Russell, y'all. All right, y'all. See you on the next podcast. Peace.